Hello, everyone. It's Sunday. It's 2 p.m. Welcome to episode 5 of Ask the Drummer. But before I bring in my guest for this week, I just want to say that I dedicate this episode to all the Filipino indie music loving kids, especially Jessel Baltazar, who's in Canada, because I do learn a lot from you guys. You know, they're posting all these indie bands that I've not heard of. So thank you very much, and keep posting them so that just sharing it to all the music fans out there. Also, I want to especially dedicate this episode to Ian Alcock of Optic Nerve Records, because if it wasn't for him, if it wasn't for Optic Nerves, I wouldn't be interviewing this special drummer this week or today. So this one, I hope you're watching, Ian, and this one is for you. So, right, let's bring in this week's guest. He's drummed in so many indie bands, so I think I'm just going to introduce him as the indie drummer. Please welcome Mr. Dean Leggett. Yay!
Hello, how are you?
Hello, Dean.
How are you? You all right?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. It's a beautiful day here in London, so it's all very nice.
Yeah, it's nice here in Stockport as well. It's also, it's very good. I was all like thinking, I mean, shall I say Dean Leggett of BOB? But it's not really, because you've drummed in so many different indie bands. So I thought, well, okay, I'm just going to say indie drummer.
Yeah, I've sort of I've fallen into the drum seat of quite a few over the years. Yeah.
Do you want to just say hello to our friends?
Hello, friends. I'm hoping a few are going to watch, and if they don't, they'll probably catch up with it later. And make a few comments, no doubt.
Yeah, we've got my King Bee colleague. I think you've had dealing with him, Neil Barker, because I remember you ordered a record from us, from King Bee Records. So it was Neil, I think, who dealt with it.
I did.
Hello, so hello, Neil.
Hello, Neil.
Right.
I still buy records more than I should. This is true. Yes. I used to do it a lot when I was younger, obviously, and then I stopped, and then I suddenly started again.
Yeah,
and it's become a bit of a habit, really.
Well, last night you showed me some of your record collection. I just thought, oh my god, that's so good.
Yeah, I've got far too many
and all that. Yeah, but anyways, I don't know if you remember, but I only found out about Bob like 4 months ago. I think it was in May.
Yeah.
When I ordered a copy of this one.
Yes.
But actually, the reason why I ordered this is because of the Berlin. Because when they promoted this, I thought, oh, that's like a live recording. I thought I might as well just get the yellow one as well, just to know more about you. And then I tweeted about it, and you responded. And you responded, and I thought, Dean Leggett, I recognized the name. So I went on Facebook and looked it up, searched for it, and oh my god, I was so shocked when I realized we're actually friends.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We're friends on Facebook, and you're the drummer of BOB, and I was like, oh my god, how come I didn't know about this?
Yeah, Facebook, it's a mystery, isn't it?
It's, I mean, it's a funny place. I mean, the world of Facebook is so good because you actually, in the past, I used to write letters to musicians and never and never got a reply.
No, I mean, writing letters to bands was like the thing, wasn't it? A big thing, I guess.
Yeah.
If you had a PO box number or even an address on the back of the record, you'd send stuff.
Yeah, but now because of the internet and social media, especially Facebook, you actually communicate with them. You have interaction with the musicians, with the artists. I just find it amazing.
Yeah.
For me, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing to have. But anyways, so I just want to say thank you to Ian of Optic Nerve, because
he's done a lot for us recently, as in BOB the group. And he's done a lot for a lot of other bands as well. I mean, his label is bringing back a lot of reissues of really good stuff, and he's doing really great. So yeah, it's good for him.
Yeah, and it's good for us. It's good for us music fans, because it's like I was saying to you last night, where was I hiding when Bob was?
I think we're all hiding.
Because I don't think that it reached us in the Philippines, because like you started in 1986, 87?
86, I think, was very early, Bob. And then and then I didn't join till 80 early 88, I think.
Right.
And then obviously we went right through to about 93. But by the end, I mean, we were putting out records. We put out records in late 80s, early 90s. Most of them did really well. Most of them went into the indie charts. And I remember saying to you yesterday, we had some real problems with this LP.
Which
is a good LP. I mean, so this LP came out in 91. And we self-funded it ourselves. So we borrowed money. We had our own label, but we borrowed money from the bank as part of the way to get it out. Luckily, Rough Trade took it on for distribution. So we recorded it and we pressed, a lot of CDs and vinyl albums, and it came out and it went straight into the charts, and we were like, "Great, this is great." And they'd sold out of them, and it was going to go to a repress, and then sadly, Rough Trade arm of distribution completely collapsed, and so everything got caught up with collectors and debt companies and stuff. Loads of bands, loads of labels, all got shut down, and we just didn't get any money for. So we were owed quite a lot of money. So I can't remember exactly, but it was, thousands of pounds, not hundreds of thousands, but in the, 10, 20 or 20,000 or something, I don't know. So then we were stuck, we had no money, and we couldn't fund our own label. So we decided that we would carry on, and we started writing new material, which ended up being this.
The yellow one,
The yellow one. Although this only came out it'll be a year ago this month only. We recorded it in 92, and we were trying to get a deal on it at the time, but we just didn't get one. So we kept all the music, and when we hooked up with Ian from Optic Nerve, we when we put out the Convenience singles and everything else, we said, well, we got loads of stuff, we could do an album. We got an album's worth of stuff we did in there. You said, yeah, let's do it. And then this one you were talking about just now, the live one.
Yeah, the live one,
So at the time when we didn't have any money and we had to pay the bank back, we were just touring constantly, like all over Europe and everywhere, trying to make the money back to pay the bank manager. And this gig, we did a lot of gigs in Europe, in Germany, and this one, funnily enough, was recorded for a German radio station, and it went out live on the radio in Berlin in 91, in October 91. And on the bill were also the Monochrome set were playing, and Hole, Courtney Love's band were playing, and I can't remember some other stuff, but it all went out live on the radio, and we played it, and we realised after we played that we played a really good set, and we didn't make any mistakes really, and we were thinking, God, that was good, we played really good. I think we played in London at the Underworld the night before or the night before that, and we basically got in the van and we drove all the way to Berlin.
Whoa.
Yeah, through the night. To the next
ferry day. Then took the ferry from Dover to Calais.
Dover to Calais, through France, through Belgium. All the way. It was a really long drive, and we got there at lunchtime, and I think we checked into the hotel, and then basically we went on stage, and they wouldn't let us drink any beer because because it was a live performance and they didn't want us to swear or anything, they wouldn't let us have any beer. So that's probably why we played so well.
Right. Well, we'll talk about Bob later on in the show. But can I just say hello to some of our friends who joined us. Monty Mendigoria. He's also got a show. You know, this show, Ask the Drummer, is actually so like from that one where he does. It's all about new wave.
Okay.
But Bob, to me, is. I mean, it's all like new wave indie, so like kind of thing. But like I said, I don't think Bob reached us in the Philippines. But anyways, Monty Mendigoria is the show of that. It's the host of that show. It's all about new wave. So hello to Monty, and hello to Lisa Dawn Robinson.
Hello, Lisa.
Lisa Dawn, yeah, and hello to Jen Nang as well. Jen Nang is also in the Philippines. So
okay,
yeah, so. You know, they're watching us from all over the world.
Great.
So say hello, Dean, and stuff. But anyway, so episode 5 of Ask the Drummer is all about you, Dean Leggett. So I normally ask, like, we'll start from the very beginning.
I was born. I was really little.
Well, again, can I just say hello to Trevor? Trevor Palmer was up watching.
Hello, Trevor. How are you doing?
Yeah, so right, so you were born in Cornwall. You're not from London.
I wasn't actually. No, I'll get this right. So I wasn't born in Cornwall. I was born in Lincolnshire. But my parents moved when I was really young. So I didn't see much of Lincolnshire because I probably couldn't see much at all. But we moved down there when I was pretty small. So 2 or 3 or something. So I pretty much grew up in, that was where I grew up. So I always say I'm Cornish because that was really all I knew. I didn't really know much about where I was initially came from. So
right. Well,
although I have been back since and had a look around, but it's not home. You know, home's Cornwall. It's always been Cornwall, and every time I go back, it always feels like home.
Oh, well, what I did last night is when you told me that you're from Cornwall, I researched Cornwall and looked for famous musicians who are actually from there, because I do like that kind of thing. And I found out that Roger Taylor of Queen
from Truro.
And not only that, Mick Fleetwood as well.
Oh, I didn't know about
Mick. From Redruth.
That's the town I grew up in. I got to say, I didn't actually know that.
You don't know? So it's like 3 drummers are actually from Cornwall.
Well, there's a few more. There's another one I know. I can mention a bit later in the show.
Oh,
a good friend of mine who's just opened a record shop, funnily enough, in Redruth. I'll just mention him now. Kev Downing, who was in the Family Cat, which were a really good band.
I was going to say that as well. I found out that the Family Cat, because I've recently discovered the Family Cat as well, you know, from collecting records and stuff. I just thought, oh, this looks nice. So I've got a couple of their 12-inch singles.
Right. Okay.
I also saw that they're from Cornwall as well. So.
Yeah, there was Kevin on drums, Tim on guitar, Gilbert on guitar also, with the 3 guys from Cornwall. And ironically, when we were younger at school, we went to school together, all of us, before we all moved to London to do our own music stuff and laze about at college and do not much. And we were in a band together back then, and a band called
Rocking. The Family Cat.
We were in a band called Rocking Clive, and it was a 5-piece band. There was a girl singer, and Kev played the drums, and I played percussion, and Tim and Joe played guitar, and we played a few gigs actually down there under the name of Rocking Clive. It was really good fun, and that was how we all got started, I think.
And did you do any recording, or was it just?
Yeah, I don't think there's any real. There might be some tapes or something somewhere. I don't really know.
Yeah,
I'd have to ask. I don't think so. It was just a few gigs really. But But yeah, it was good fun.
Was that your first?
No, I was in another band at school before that, and that's pretty much how I learned. So very early on, my grandfather, I think I mentioned this to you yesterday, my grandfather, who's probably the only musician in my family, because I never count myself as a musician, he played an accordion. And if people don't know what an accordion is, it's one of these, but bigger. Much bigger than that. And he was really keen on accordion music, and he used to play it all the time, and it used to drive us crazy. And he said to me one day, "Oh, do you want to play? Do you want to play an instrument?" I was like, "Oh, I don't really know I can't really play anything. I don't know what to play." And I always fancied playing a guitar. I always thought that was a cool thing to do, to be a guitarist. And but
I'm glad that you became a drummer.
Well, he bought me a drum kit. Yeah, he bought me a drum kit. And it was we put it in the front room at my mum's house.
Yeah.
And we were talking about front rooms. It's like the front room was like, mum and dad's special place that nobody really went in unless you had like guests, or important people over, family and stuff. Because if you went in there, you weren't allowed to trash it. Brand new sofas and stuff. Everything was really nice and clean and tidy in the front room. The rest of the house was different, but the front room was always like the cool place.
Is it a normal thing in the British sort of like?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, we used to live in the dining room. We had a dining room at the back where we used to. We had a TV, and we used to sit around in the kitchen, obviously where we used to eat. But the front room was like a different room altogether. It was like. That's the front room, you can't go in there.
And you're not allowed.
Not allowed. So, and my dad had his record player in there, of course, which you weren't allowed to touch. So my drums went in there. And as time went on, I started playing the drums in the front room along to some of my dad's records. So that was like how I sort of learned. And then a bit later on, when I got in a school band, we did covers of various songs. I've picked some records here of covers we used to do. So we used to do covers like this, Joy Division. We used to play Joy Division songs.
Whoa.
Echo and the Bunnymen songs. Not this album. I think we played off Crocodiles actually, and I can't find that. And we played a song off this.
Oh, I love. Yeah.
I think we played Anthrax. I can't remember which one it was. Or it might have been Damaged Goods. I don't know. I can't remember. Yeah. And then a bit later, I learned to play stuff. I got into a bit more. I got a bit better, and I was learning to play some Orange Juice stuff.
Yeah.
So that was sort of how I got started. And then that band obviously didn't go anywhere because nobody was interested. And then after that, I moved up to London with the other guys, from Us Family Cat and stuff,
from the family,
and moved up to go to college. And then I sort of left the drum kit behind. It was like I'm going to a whole new start, just do something else. So I came to London.
Well, I just got a message from there's a message from Trevor saying that his friends had front rooms that they were never allowed into. So it must
there you go. You see.
I've not heard of that before, but yeah, maybe that was the thing in like British families in the old days, but maybe not anymore. So I don't know if it's still like that, but I don't.
Yeah, we also had a lock. We also had a lock on the telephone. So you used to have the phones that used to do that with a dial.
Yeah.
Well, Mum used to put a key lock on it so that we couldn't phone people up and shout down the phone at them. Because that was always a good thing to do for fun. So you dial a random number.
Yeah.
Because most phone numbers are only 6 digits. They weren't like now where it's 02, 07, 75, or like, it was basically 4 numbers or 6, I can't remember. And so it was easy to pick the phone up. You just pick 6 random numbers and see who you got, and then, get off the line, there's a train coming. That's the joke. And, but of course, it costs money, so Mum put a lock on the phone. I think that's another thing English families did. I remember my friends were the same. It was like, there's a lock on the phone and we can't go in the front room.
Ken Trevor said that he had a key lock on the phone, so you must be related to
There you go. You see, there you go.
Anyway, so after that, so you moved to London with the family cat, but you didn't.
Well, no, I didn't move. They weren't the family cat then. We were just friends.
Yeah.
We all moved to London together because we all left school roughly the same time, within 6 months of each other, or whatever year each other. So we all ended up in London, and because we were all school friends from Cornwall and everything else, we ended up living together. We ended up renting houses together. And then we just basically, we were just used to go to so many gigs. I mean, we were always going to gigs all the time. And I mean, at my college, we went to see the Fall play, and the Smiths played in the bar. And we used to, and we used to follow the Smiths around, me and Kev and Joel. We used to hitchhike to see them. This was like really early, like 83 or something. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah.
They'd done a Peel session or two or something, and they were popular but not huge. So we used to follow them around a bit, and we used to hitchhike. And Joe got quite friendly with them, and we managed to get into a few sound checks. And we got into one particular one I remember. We hitchhiked up to the Hacienda to see them, and they were supporting either the New Order or the Fall. I can't remember who they were supporting. And then I think they got a lift back with them in their van. I can't remember exactly, but we went to another one. I think it was either King's College or another college just outside of London, and we managed to get in the sound check. And we were just sort of hanging around, and we ended up playing pinball with the bass player and
Andy Rourke
and Mick Joyce. They were playing pinball.
My God!
Pinball. It was like, do you want a game of doubles, boys? We're like, yeah, we'll have a game of doubles. Yeah.
Oh my God!
And so it was really good fun then. And of course, there was lots in London as well. There's another friend of ours who lived with us called John. He worked at the Town and Country Club, as it was called then. And so he used to always get us in on the guest list to see just like anything that was on. We'd just go because it was something to do. So we saw lots of bands play, and that sort of sparked my interest in playing again, because I was thinking, this looks really like all right.
Yeah, you can do something.
This looks fun. I used to do it and I wasn't very good at it, and I thought, well, I'm still not very good at it, but somebody might want me, So that was.
But did you guys have photos with the Smiths or so? Like...
No, I don't think we never had any. We never had any cameras. We never had any
cameras.
We never had any phones. We never had any money. We didn't have any money. We had nothing. It was like we'd have enough money for, for some ciggies and maybe a drink. We didn't have enough money to get home. Sometimes we'd hitchhike, or sometimes we'd get the last train. When they played in London, which they did quite often. They played at LSE, I remember, and they played at King's College, and they played somewhere in Chelsea, and they played Dingwalls. I think we went to see them there. So it was easy to get home then. You could jump on the bus or the tube. So it was pretty okay. And of course, it wasn't that expensive to get into a gig. But if you wanted to get outside of London, you're in trouble, really, unless you could afford the train fare, which we couldn't often.
So, Oh, that's incredible. It's like, do you think they still remember?
I think loads of people did that, though. I mean, around that time, it wasn't, I think, a lot of people used to, I remember, people that were mad on bands like The Jam and stuff, and they used to go everywhere to see them, hitchhike everywhere, and it was just, I think, I'm sure people still do that. I don't know if they do. They follow bands as much as they used to. They probably do.
I follow.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, particularly one or two groups that you like. Yeah, they're doing a 20-day tour, and it's like, I've got to go to all of those.
Well, Mick Head, Mick Head,
yeah.
The Pearl Fountains and Shack. Well, last year before the pandemic, he did like a 5-day tour of the UK. So I went to all of them. I went to Edinburgh, London.
Well, I bet you didn't hitchhike and sleep on people's.
No, I didn't hitchhike. No, I took the megabus because it's cheaper that way.
Well, there you go. See, we never had megabuses.
You didn't have megabus in those days.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Right, but so when did what was your first proper band where you actually did some
Well,
recording?
when I came to London to move, and you know, we were hanging around, and I thought about it. I thought, I'll see if I can get in a band. And in those days, you could, in the back of Melody Maker, there was always like a wanted section, you know, of like guitar player wanted, drummer wanted, this sort of thing. And I thought, I'll have a look at that. And I looked at it, and there was an advert for a drummer wanted for a band from South London, called Jamie Wednesday. And I've got to be honest, I hadn't really heard of them. And they were, and I got in touch with them. There was a phone number. I think I rang and I spoke to Les, Fruitbat now called, Les Carter. Yeah. And he said, we're playing a gig at the Greyhound in Fulham. We've got a drummer at the moment, but he's leaving, or I can't remember. He was sitting in. I can't remember exactly. And he said, why don't you come down and come and see us, and then have a chat. So I was like, okay, I'll come down. So I went down, and you know, I didn't even actually have a drum kit, to be honest. I never had anything. I mean, obviously not the gig, but I didn't have a drum kit at home either. So I went down to the gig, and I saw them, and I thought, you know, you're good. It's good. It's sort of indie. I don't know what they described us as. The press always, later on, they always called us different things, indie cowpunk and all sorts of stuff like that. And so I had a chat with them afterwards, with Jim and Les, and they said, look, we're auditioning, you know, next week for some drummers. Yeah. Would you like to audition? And I said, well, okay, yeah, I'll come. And so I went to a rehearsal studio, and I didn't have a drum kit, as I said, so I had to use the drum kit that was there. I hadn't played for a good couple of years. I mean, I really hadn't played with anybody, or, you know, just on my legs, you know. And so, and I thought, you know, well, I probably won't get this, but it'll be an experience to do it anyway. So I went, and I got the gig. You know, I got the job, and it was like,
they gave it to you,
I haven't got a drum kit. What am I going to do? And they were like, have you got a drum kit? I was like, no. And I was thinking, well, that's it. They're going to say, well, you can't be in the band if you haven't got a drum kit. Sure.
If you haven't got,
But I said, look, don't worry, I'll get one. And so, you know, a few phone calls later, and, you know, Dad, you know, can I borrow some money? And so I got myself a drum kit, and then I started playing with them, which was great. You know, and we were lucky. Because, I mean, I was lucky because, you know, those two, we had a brass section that we used to pay them to play. They were in the band, but they sort of weren't in the band, if you know what I mean. They were sort of session players. They played for other people as well, the men they couldn't hang and stuff like that. So there was me, Jim, and Les, really, and Jim, you know, obviously is a great songwriter. There's, you know, you have to look at his track record.
Well, I have to say that I haven't really heard of Jamie Wednesday until I've seen this. It's a poster.
Oh yes.
It's a poster. It's one of those Optic Nerve releases.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a poster that came with Metro Trinity. And I thought, Jamie Wednesday, and then there's another one, Rumblefish, as well. And I
yeah.
And then my friend Jessel from Canada, he posted like a video, I think, of Jamie Wednesday, and I thought, oh wow. And then I googled it and researched, and all of a sudden, so like there's you, and then there's Carter, become like Carter USM, and Jim Bob. Exactly. I was sort of like thinking, oh my God, Jim Bob, I'm gonna see him at Shine On this year.
yeah. I might see you there.
That would be great.
Oh, I'll definitely go to his London show. I think probably in November. I think it's in November.
It's Shine On's in November, and apparently, well, according to this your Wikipedia thing, that
I didn't write
Pop Will Eat Itself got the name from
so
Jamie Wednesday.
Yeah, so there was a review in one of the magazines, and I can't remember which one it was. I've probably got it here somewhere. And I had this book, you see. It's called Scrapbook, and it is scrap, but it's not. It's full of Jamie Wednesday interviews, posters, photographs, magazines, all sorts of pictures, various things. And a guy called Dave Quantick, who's quite a famous writer these days, and actually was then, he was a writer for the NME and the Melody Maker. Yeah. And he started the review of the gig, Pop Will Eat Itself. And it was a really good review of us playing live somewhere, or it might have been a record, I can't remember. And so Pop Will Eat Itself nicked that first line of the review and used it as their band name.
So that scrapbook is yours. You've collected that over the years. That's your stuff?
Well, this is it. A friend of mine started doing it years ago when we were kids, and I say kids, you know, and he sort of kept all these things, and there's some really cool stuff like this. This is Jackie magazine, which some people might remember, which was like a pop magazine, a bit like Smash Hits, but mainly aimed at girls. You can see if you open it up, you've got David Bowie there. You've got old Stingy on the back there, and then inside you've got lots of pictures of. You've got Fergal there. There he is.
Aww.
And then there's bits about makeup, obviously. It's a full double page on Wham.
Whoa. Yeah.
Old Georgie. And then in the middle, there's a big pull-out of Simon Le Bon. A double page poster of Le Bonnie. And on the back, there we are. It's quite incredible, really, because, you know, we were certainly not in the league of Simon Le Bon, Sting and the others, but we were in there as it's, it says the next big thing.
Watch out for Jamie Wednesday.
The next big thing. But ironically, I suppose, in a way, they were sort of quite right, because although we didn't go on to be the next big thing, Jim and Les, when they formed Carter, you know, they did go on to be very successful, you know, with the #1 LP and, you know, headlining Glastonbury, you know. So in a way, I guess the songs were always going to be, because some of the Jamie Wednesday songs, and I have a really early set list here from a gig.
Oh my God! Wow.
two or three of the songs on this set list ended up as being Carter songs on the 30-something album.
Yeah.
And I think there's another two that are maybe on Prince in a Pauper's Grave, which wasn't on here, but also went on. And I think on their first album as well. And you know, we sort of did. Here's a couple of NME. So this is an NME front cover with the Cramps on it and the Pogues, and here we are down here.
Wednesday,
front cover of the NME. And this is another one, and I hope I'm not boring everybody. Here's the Melody Maker from, I don't know what year it is, but it's probably about 84 or 5. It's got King on the front.
Wow. Love and Pride. Yeah, that's right.
So here we are. So we're in this. Here we are. Jamie Wednesday, Micro Disney. Green on Red. Jesus and Mary Chain.
Wow.
Susie of the Banshees.
Yeah,
so we sort of did really well in the short time that we played.
Yeah.
And it was really, really good fun. And you know, now that you know the music still appears. I mean, this came out a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
This is a box set called Scared to Get Happy, 1980 to 89, the story of indie pop.
Yeah.
And
it looks like it hasn't been opened.
I haven't opened it. No, I'm not a big fan of indie pop. And so I haven't opened it yet. But but it's got a Jamie Wednesday track on it, and I think they did another one, Cherry Red, with Jamie Wednesday track on it. I can't remember. So you know, we sort of did okay. It was good.
Yeah.
It was good, and then.
Sorry, Dean.
Yeah.
What year was that Jackie magazine?
Oh, let me have a look.
Yeah.
I don't know if it actually says what year it's in. It probably does in the
It does not say that.
small print.
Well, Neil was saying that
No,
maybe
1986.
1986. Well, Neil Barker is right. He said 1986.
Yeah, 1986.
But also, can you just say,
a lot of people, they've all gone, haven't they? These greats. There's Dave. Not Fergal's still here, isn't he? Well, I got the only two in there. George and Paul Young's still going, right?
Oh yeah. I saw him about 3 years ago. But anyways, I also want to say hello to those who joined us. Says Giorgio Mabalat. He's in Nottingham, I think. And
hello.
Yeah, so Noel Filano, who's in the Philippines, Manila, I believe. And Gilbert is also in Manila. And he says that he loves Jamie Wednesday.
Oh, great.
And Trevor said that he bought both Jamie Wednesday singles at the time, and he still has them.
Well, he's lucky because they're actually worth quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
If you want to buy one, I mean, I don't know how much they cost, but they're quite hard to find.
Yeah.
If you want to buy one, I think I showed you one yesterday up here. I think this one.
A rare one.
This 12-inch here, yeah. Because there wasn't very many. The pink label, the pink label only lasted a few years. And of course, also on the pink label were the June Brides,
right?
The Wolfhounds, McCarthy,
Rumblefish, according to Trevor.
Rumblefish. Yeah. It was a really, really good, cool label. But they never made very many of each, and Wire were on pink as well, very briefly. So they didn't make a lot of the records, and I think probably only about 1,000 of each. Here's a strange picture. Look at that, sitting on a van in Finsbury Park. I think they didn't make very many of them, and then what was left over apparently was damaged in some sort of fire.
No.
Yeah, so they're quite hard to find, and I mean they go for quite a lot of money. I think these 12 inches go for like anything between 40 and 60, 40 and 80. If they come up, they don't come up very often. Yeah. There was one on eBay the other day. I think it was some guy was obviously trying to chance his arm. He had it on for £140 or something.
Oh my God. Like, well, if someone will pay that amount, I don't think I've seen. I don't know about Neil, but I don't think I've seen any Jamie Wednesday records.
No, they're not a charity shop find.
Yeah. Well, okay. So after Jamie Wednesday, you joined the Siddeleys.
Well, briefly, I did have some time off after Jamie Wednesday because I did some merchandise stuff. So I stopped playing drums for a bit. I was sort of like, I'm going to have to kick this away for a bit. And I started working for a little t-shirt merchandise company based in Camden. And the girl who ran it was pretty cool and switched on. And she was good friends with all the people at Go Discs. So she got, I mean, I knew a few people as well. So we'd started doing T-shirts for the Weather Prophets, Primal Scream. I mean, I had to go to see Alan McGee, right, in the office. So she said, these guys. Yeah. You go and see them and negotiate a deal with Alan for for like percentage cut of the T-shirts and Primal Scream as well. And so I went down to the offices of Creation. We're basically in King's Cross in Gray's Inn Road. And I remember going in there, and Jeff Barrett was there as well, who now runs Heavenly, and I was like, we want to do the T-shirts for the tour, and he was like, well, how much are you going to give us? And I'm like, well, we'll give you a certain amount, of each shirt, and he always said, how much are you going to give us for each shirt? And I'm like, and I said, how much do you want? And he said, well, all of it. And I said, well, no, you can't have all of it because there's no point doing it. And he was just really hard to negotiate with. Every time you came up with a number, he was like, "No, not doing it. The boys won't want it." So we did, but we ended up doing it. We ended up doing the Weather Prophets. We did. We also did a few other things, like we did the Mighty Lemon Drops. But the big thing was we did the House Martins and Billy Bragg. Now they were really good because we'd go on the House Martins tours. So in the latter part of 86, 87, I was working with the House Martins on their tours, basically driving around, following them around the country every gig.
Oh my God!
Selling T-shirts.
I've got to say, I mean, these bands like the Smiths, the Mighty Lemon Drops, the House Martins, I'd say anything for them to reform, and so I could go and see them live.
Yeah, but, I mean, the best thing about touring with the House Martins was playing football with them, because it was really good. We'd always have a game of footy before the gig, because when they started playing bigger venues, there was always a lot of floor space. So, we set the merchandise up and they do the sound check. Paul would go, right, let's get the ball out. And we'd have a match, always a match. There'd always be a match. And ironically, the tour manager of the House Martins, Paul Thompson, later on became Bob's manager. So it all sort of intertwined, But after the merchandise thing, so I was doing all this work with all these bands. And we had the Happy Mondays on the Weather Prophets tour. We had the Happy Mondays, and I've got to say, they were the hardest people to work with in the whole world. I mean, there was about 20 of them, I guess. You never knew. Well, no, they weren't 20 in the band, but there was always 20 that turned up at the gig. And you didn't know who was in the band each night. And this was around the time of The Egg, the first LP. And they try and nick everything. They never had any money, so they say, "Oh, can I have a T-shirt? Do you want a Sully watch? And it was just like you had to stick everything down on the table, because otherwise it would be gone. But, I mean, they were really good. I mean, they were a good band, but they were scary.
Well,
quite scary.
I just want to promote something, because speaking of the House Martins, my friend who's watching us, Monty, he's got a show called it's all about, I've mentioned it earlier, it's all about New Wave, and he's I think it's next Friday when he's going to have the original bass player of the House Martins, Ted King.
Yeah.
So if
Ted.
Teddy, Ted, yeah. I'm sorry, is it Anthony Key, Ted Key or something? Yeah, but anyways, the original bass player before Fatboy Slim or Norman Cook, but just a bit of promotion there.
Ted was very good, actually, and he was like, I saw them when Ted was in it, and he was great. He went on to be in the band called the Gargoyles, I think, from Hull. And I hadn't seen him for ages. I saw him last probably in the late 80s, early 90s when Bob played in Hull. We played a gig. We played a triple bill at the Adelphi with My Bloody Valentine and a band from America called Thin White Rope. They basically double booked Thin White Rope and us and My Bloody Valentine. They made a mistake at the booking, so 3 bands turned up to play in the Adelphi, which is really small. And so the guy who ran the venue said, "Look, you're all going to have to play." So we all played. And it was one of those nights, and it's in the book, the Hull Adelphi book, as like one of the the coolest gigs.
Wow!
Because it was such a mixture of bands. There was us, guitar band, and then this NBV with like white noise, and then the American guys, were a bit sort of Nirvana-ish, but it was great. It was a good gig.
Yeah. Oh, Lisa said that she'll never sell her Jamie Wednesday record.
I'm sure.
And Trevor said that he's going to put all his Jamie Wednesday singles in the safe now, because that's like. And Jessel from Balthazar, the one that I'm so dedicated this episode to. He'd love to see the promo picture of Jamie Wednesday. So if you could post it on your
I will post it on the link. There's quite a few of them, Giselle, so I'll post. Some of them are band pictures, and some of them are promo pictures.
Yeah.
From the Pink label. So I mean, I have a whole book tell him I've got his details. I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Anyway, he knows where to find me, and I'll send him.
He knows a lot about indie bands, so I learn a lot.
A quick Siddeleys one. Here we go. Look, this is a really early one.
Oh wow!
There you go. So this was, and it's on the back. Johnny's written on it. Dear fragrant pop star, well I wonder, Johnny. So there you go. So that was a photo taken when I was playing with them. As I said, I didn't record anything with them, but I did do a couple of gigs with them, and we did. Wow. I think I did one set of demos with them in the Bob studio.
Oh wow! But okay, so now we come to the band that I know you for and I love you for, which is Bob.
Yes.
Which, it's funny because whenever I see the logo, I think of Black Adder. It's like Bob.
Oh yes, of course, yes.
But you don't really do that when you see Bob Dylan or Bob Marley or something. But that band, when I saw it for the first time, I was like, oh my God, Bob.
Yeah. I think Steve the Mac used to do it. He used to go Bob instead. And he did it recently when he played a track off this Yellow album. I think he said Bob like that again. I know it's easy to do. We don't mind.
You don't mind. Well, is it like BOB? Does it mean anything? Like bring own booze or something? Or is it just really Bob? Where did that come from? How did it go?
I got to be honest, I don't know. Is the answer. I think if Simon and Richard were on here, they'd probably be typing it right now. But I don't know. But there's a lot of stuff about Bob that people don't know from the early days, and a lot of information about early stuff that we did and gigs that we did and stuff. And it's all going to be coming out soon in the form of a book.
A book.
Not this one. Yeah. This book is called The Book You Wish Your Parents Had Read. That's not the title of it, of course.
So that's not it. So so there's going to be a Bob book coming out.
There's a Bob book coming out, and
before the end of the year.
We're hoping it's going to come out in the end of October. It's finished. It's been written. It's been scrutinized by us. It's going to have. So it's a hardback. It's thick. It's a whole history of us as how from growing up, being in the band, starting it, the others, and there's going to be discography in there. There's all the gig history. There's photos and pictures. There's also interviews with lots of people along the way. So there's like Paul Thompson, the House Martins and Beautiful South manager who managed us. There's people that helped us record the albums. There's people that mixed the albums. There's the guide. There's stuff about all the John Peel sessions we did, and right up to now. I mean, it's a good read, and it's written by a guy called John Hartley. I'm surprised he's not listening in. Who runs a site called Everything Indie Over 40, and they've done a few books. I think you probably know of them.
I've read some of his articles online. So
yeah. So it's finished. We're just at the moment verifying the front cover sort of idea, and then we're having one last Zoom meeting about it, and then I think it goes to print, and then also with it, it's going to be quite cool. Because we thought, well, it's just a book, so we're gonna put a CD in it.
Oh wow!
Which is basically going to be be some unreleased stuff in there. So and it's going to be all the demos of all the singles.
Oh,
I don't know if I should be saying
really
this now, but demos.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, and maybe some other bits and pieces. We were going to do a concert. We had a gig. We found a gig from 1989 on the Convenience Tour. We had a whole footage of a whole gig, but I don't know. We weren't sure about that. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a CD of all the demos of all the singles, and maybe a few unreleased bonus tracks in the book as well. So it would be worth having, because there's only going to be 100 hardback editions to start with. So it'll be quite a rare book. We're hoping that the 100 will go pretty quickly, and they'll do can you say, is it softback? Do you call it softback? I don't know.
Paperback. Yeah, paperback one.
A paperback. They'll probably do a paperback as well afterwards, but obviously, you want to get a hardback one, don't you?
And and of course you're going to do like a signing session.
Well, we'll try and do something if we can. I mean, it's difficult at the moment because we all live in different places. So Richard lives down in Land's End, which is, obviously right at the bottom of the UK. Beautiful spot.
Yeah.
He looks out over the ocean every day. Myself and Simon live up here in London. So it's, we don't see each other very much. I mean, I saw Richard recently, and we had to sign some records for the Optic Nerve label.
I need to get my copy of that, because I've ordered it
in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm going to see Simon next week. So obviously we haven't really seen each other properly together since 2019 because of everything that's happened, and also because we live so far away from each other. So obviously it's difficult to see each other on a regular basis. But we've been Zooming a lot during the lockdowns, and we talk all the time. And there's more Bob stuff in the catalogue. There's more unreleased material, and there's and obviously the live album's coming out in November. So there's stuff. There'll be more Bob stuff. I don't think there's going to be any more gigs before you ask, but I know you're going to.
I was gonna.
Yeah, I think we sort of said that in 2019 on the last tour, it was such a good tour and it was so much fun. And we sold out at the end of the 100 Club, and it was just great, and everyone really had a great time. And as much as I can't tell you how many times people have said, "Do it again, please do it again, please do it again,
please do it again, yes,
please do it again." But I don't think so. I think basically we said at the time that we wouldn't do any more, but you never know. And also we might do something acoustically if we can at some point, and we're definitely going to try and do something for the book, even if it's just even if it's just a signing session, or down the pub. Come to the pub. We'll be in the pub if you want to come. You can come.
It's just, I wish I had known about Bob when you did that 2019 at the 100 Club, because I was watching it on YouTube last night, and I thought that could have been me videoing you, and so
you drumming.
I was like, videoing you drumming and stuff. But it's just, I don't know it. I don't know why I didn't know about your band, but I'm really glad that I do now.
No, we did well. I mean, in typical Bob style, we do everything last minute, and so we only rehearsed we arranged to rehearse for the tour 2 weeks before in Cornwall, where Richard lived, and so we went down there, and we sort of got there. And John Hartley came, actually, who's writing the book. We got there the first day, and we sort of set the gear up and sort of, plugged it in and everything. And then was like, well, what are we going to do? And I was like, well, I don't know. And then we started playing. And then Rich had to go off to get his kids from school or something. Yeah. And then he came back, and he was feeling a bit, I think he had a sore throat. He wasn't feeling very good. He said, I can't sing today. Because if I sing now, I won't be able to sing. My throat's. I haven't sung because we hadn't sung. The boys hadn't sung for ages, and so we were like, okay, well, let's knock it on the head. Let's go to the pub. So we went to the pub instead, and the next day we went back, and we sort of written out like about half the set. And we said, we'll try these. Started playing these, And then by the end of the week, we'd sort of got a set together, but it still didn't sound that great. We were still a bit ropey, obviously, and because there's lots of harmonies in the Bob songs, and they're not straightforward, and some of them are quite complicated, and the guitar parts especially, just like it's like, how did that go? I can't remember. And so we had to do a lot of going back to listening to some of the records to try and work it out. And then at the time we were there, we were staying in a cottage next door to where Richard lived, and Ian had put out the Convenience single, again a reissue, and it went into the actual physical charts, vinyl charts, at number 19. And we were like, whoa, that's amazing. How did that happen? And so that really gave us a bit of a G up, I think. The fact that we were in the charts again after all those years, even though it wasn't a big thing, a big chart, obviously, but it was still really cool. And so it was like, right, down the pub. So we went to the pub again,
Practice.
We went to the pub every night, in fact. And then the day after that, it was like, well, we'll go home now. And then a week and a half later, we sort of met, and we played the first gig in Birmingham, and we used the sound check as a rehearsal, basically. We got there really early. We got there at 2:00 in the afternoon, and I think we played for about 2.5 hours just to remember it.
Yeah, I remember the songs.
Yeah. But by the end of the tour, the videos you've seen, the 100 Club, we were pretty tight by then. And boys were singing good. So, but to answer your question, it's this, there's a lot of bands out there that's, obviously the Charlatans, all those sort of bands, Happy Bun, they've been doing it forever and they've never stopped. And I think that, and they've obviously got a couple of people left in the band at original, but most of them are like young, aren't they? They're young people. You always got a young drummer, haven't they? They got, things the same. Everyone else is like kids. And that's why they can do it, and they've never stopped. But I think because we stopped for so long, it's tough. It's tough going. We're getting on a bit, you see.
Yeah, we're never saying that though, because I'm sure, hopefully you'll do it again. But talking about Bob Convenience, I was late to this as well, and they're all like different colors. I got the green one.
Oh, okay, yeah,
you can see it, but that's green.
That's great.
But there's like blue as well, or something I call yellow, I think. But
there's amber. There's amber and red. The color of the traffic lights.
So that's the one that got into the charts. So it's like vinyl.
Yeah. So that reshot. So that originally went into the charts in 1989 when it came out.
Yeah.
It went top 10 indie, and it was also in John Peel's Festive 50 of 1989.
Yeah.
And then it recharted in 2019, which was 30 years later.
Were you ever on Top of the Pops?
No.
Did you? No.
No, never on Top of the Pops.
No. Did you wish so? Like.
Well, yeah, I think like everybody would have been. I mean, when you talk to, or you see people interviewed about Top of the Pops of all ages and genres, they always go, "Oh, Top of the Pops, a nightmare." It was like you sort of had to mime it, or it was just full of wankers, excuse my language, and all of that. And you look, you think, yeah, but you did it. It must have been great.
Yeah.
But I guess we probably wanted to be on Top of the Pops. I mean, who wouldn't want to be on Top of the Pops? But we never were. And we were never on MTV either. We were never on MTV because we didn't do any videos.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I wish we'd had someone that was sort of had a decent camera and filmed a lot more stuff that we did back in 89, 90 and stuff. Because we were good, and and there was always big crowds, and there's a lot of footage that I wish we managed to get, but alas, there you go. You can't have it all.
But I want to do like a quick round of questions.
Okay.
I'm sure you're gonna know this, but I just want to say hello to Andy Chua, who's from Canada.
Hello, Andy. How you doing?
Right. So are you ready?
Yeah.
Right. Favorite food?
Oh, roast dinner every day of the week. I'd have roast dinner 3 nights a week if I could.
Favorite clothes?
The cheap ones.
And splendid car.
Today.
And favorite day.
Saturday night.
And do you know when
plastic palm trees?
When I was watching the clips from the 100 Club game, they did this. Well, you did this. Trouser Side. Is it Trouser Side?
Yes, Trouser Side. Yeah.
And he said that it's actually he wrote it after watching the Smiths documentary. Like I think it's from the South Bank show.
Yes,
or something.
He did. So, yes, he did exactly.
Yeah. Because I love this song, and then after watching that video, I just thought, oh my god, it's about the Smiths. So I love it even more.
It's about Morrissey, in fact, I think. Yes, another connection. Yeah, you'd have to get more information on it from Rich, I think. Well, he did do when we did the listening party for Tim Burgess last year for that album. Yeah. He did write something about that in the listening party, but I honestly can't remember what it was. The whole thing went so quickly, I sat down, but put the laptop on, put the album into the CD player, put my headphones on. We'd already done people don't know this. We'd already pre-done the tweets because obviously you can't keep up because it's so quick.
I know.
You have to pre-program the tweets if you're the band because it'd be impossible. And then, but even so, when it started, it was like because people were replying and asking questions and retweeting it and stuff. It was just like, my God, you can't keep up. But he did write something about that as part of that song. And again, it'll be in the book.
And you've got another listening party with Tim Burgess.
We've got another listening party on the 21st of this month for this LP.
For the yellow, yeah.
But we're only going to be doing the tracks on the vinyls. So we're only going to do 12 tracks, which is basically the first 12 tracks on the CD, and the 12 tracks on the vinyl. Because there's 28 tracks on this double CD, which is an absolute bargain for $10.99. But of course we can't.
Still available.
Tim won't let us do that because there's another band after us, and I can't remember who it is, but it's someone quite good.
Well, I'd love to ask you more about Bob, but I have to sort of ask you with the one that you're currently in,
the one-eyed Wayne band.
One-eyed Wayne.
Yeah. So
tell us more about One-Eyed Wayne.
Yeah, well, I guess again, not many people would have heard, but so in recent years, I met some friends who live locally to here, and we all like the same sort of music, and we all go to the pub and stuff. So we decided to get a band together, and we called ourselves One-Eyed Wayne, and we just started playing around a little bit around the pubs and stuff around here in London, and then we got a little bit of interest, and we got some of our songs played on BBC Six. Tom Robinson played some stuff. And then Gideon Coe played something. I sent him a song, because I sort of know Gid a little bit, and I sent him all the Bob stuff and everything. And he played a song on that, and we thought, this is quite good. So we did an album called Attack of the Luxury Flats, which Ian's got on he sells via the Optic label.
I should get a copy of
it. I don't have one to hand. Yeah. So and I rang Ian when I was the reason that we got the Bob stuff with Optic Nerve was not really because I'd rang him about that. I'd rang him about the One-Eyed Wayne.
One-Eyed Wayne, yeah.
And I just rang up and said, look, I'm looking for a label to put out. We want to do another album. We've already done one. We're doing all right. Do you want to put it out? And but in an email prior to that, I'd said to him that I was in Bob and everything else. So he'd obviously worked out what was going on, but he was like, send me the album. So I sent him the first album, and he said, this it's great, I love it, and then he said, send me the mixes of the second album. So he sent him the mixes of the second album, which is called Saucy Postcards Super Creeps, and he really liked it and said, "Yeah, I'll put it out." So he put out the second album on Optic Nerve, only on CD, of course. And it's good, and we got really good reviews for it. And then just before the lockdown, we went on tour with The Wedding Present, which was good. We did the Scottish gigs with them. We did Birmingham and Newcastle, and it was really good playing on big stages again, I've got to say. And we're doing some new stuff. We've been a bit slow, to be honest. We sort of stopped, like everybody. We sort of, during the lockdowns, we stopped because we couldn't meet. And then, when it slowly unwind, it's like, what are we going to do? Let's just finish what we started. So I think the plan now is that we started album 3, and I think we're going to try and finish album 3 as soon as possible, and then we'll put it out.
And then will you tour? Will you?
Well, I don't. We'll probably do some gigs or something. I think I don't know. I mean, it's really hard to get gigs anyway. It doesn't matter what size band you are. I mean, and also, I've been to a few gigs recently, and they haven't been very well attended indoors. I think people are still a little bit wary about indoor gigs. I think outdoors fine. I mean, I went to a festival last weekend when I was in Cornwall, and I saw Razorlight and stuff, and a few other, and Goldie Looking Jane, and a few other things. It was just a festival near my mum's. I jumped over the head, and it was busy. There was lots of people. It was outside. Everyone was having fun. And then I went to a gig a week before that indoors in London, and it was not as full as I thought. And also people seemed a little bit like they were sort of still, I'm not sure about this. Indoor, sweaty.
Well, Preston Pop Fest. That was just amazing. You should go. You should play there next year. Bob and One Eyed Wayne should go and play.
Well, I have to ask Rika about that.
Because that's just really, for me. I mean, I like meeting.
It sounded brilliant, Anna. It did sound brilliant. I know Ian went, and I know there's probably a few people that will watch this that went to that festival.
And
it sounded like the place, the Continental, was great. It was a pub on the outskirts of Preston that had a really lovely garden. It had a good room for the main bands. It had a little nook for the acoustic stuff.
Got a small.
And all the bands were of similar sort of music and era. And I guess all the people that went were a similar age. So I guess there was no real, it wasn't like,
There were fans there. Yeah, there were fans wearing Bob t-shirts.
I heard that. Yeah, Ian said that the Bob t-shirt was the most popular t-shirt of the weekend.
Anyways, right. Well, okay. Before I let you go, I just want to ask you about your record collection, because you bought a Stranglers demo from King B from us. So your main collection is actually punk.
Well, I've got a lot of punk. I mean, I've got a lot of punk and new wave stuff. Yeah, I mean, I've always collected it, but I went big on reggae for a while. 7 inches, particularly. I've got like a flight case full of those. But Jamaican ones mainly.
Yeah.
But then I sort of flipped back a bit, and I'm just buying new stuff, And I bought the other day. What did I buy? I don't think I brought it down. I've been buying new stuff, and reissues as well. I mean, I've been buying a lot. I bought the Slits reissue the other day. I still look at Record Store Day, and I still look at other things, see if there's anything good coming out. But I've been buying lots. I mean, lots of stuff that I've had before that's got scratched, and
you're buying
not worth playing.
Yeah,
no, I reckon I've got about 7,000 records. I reckon something like that.
Wow! Oh my God.
And some really rare stuff. Obviously, over the years, I've bought stuff that's become pretty rare. But they're just records, right? I mean, I'm hoping that the kids are gonna, pick up the mantle and go, Dad, I really want to play that one-sided copy of No More Heroes that you bought.
Yeah.
That's worth
do you have any Sarah records? Like the Sarah label?
I don't. I think I have lots of I've got lots of indie singles and records. I used to get given lots of stuff. So they'd always go, "Oh, do you want that? Do you want that?" At gigs, everyone would like give out stuff. So I probably have some. I have lots of postcard records, and I have a lot of creation stuff because of Alan and stuff. So and everything else. But and I've got a lot of I've got a lot of soul Motown stuff too.
Oh wow!
That I had a bit of a thing about that for a while.
Do you have any? Well, I don't really like to use this term. You're going to say guilty pleasures. I mean, if something that you like, you shouldn't feel guilty about it. But any sort of like guilty pleasures in your collection? Any, I don't know, ABBA or something? ABBA records?
I've got all the ABBA albums.
You've got all the ABBA records?
I've got all of them. I've got all of them.
Whoa.
I've got all of them.
Oh, that's so great.
But ABBA albums are all right, because when you get past the singles, there's some really good stuff on there. Like especially on Arrival is a really good record. I mean, it's quite poppy, it's quite guitar-y in places. It's good.
Yeah. What do you think of their reunion?
Well, I haven't seen it yet. I must catch up. I don't know. Have they done it yet? I've seen pictures.
They've released. I think they've released a couple
looking like that
singles.
Punk, but I haven't heard the song.
Yeah.
And isn't it a virtual concert?
I think there's gonna be like a tour, but it's holographic. So
right. Okay.
They're not doing it like.
Yeah. So, do you know what? I'm interested. I like all sorts of music. I'm open to listen to it all.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd buy it. Certainly not. It's probably number one already, isn't it? Before it's even come out. But I will. I will definitely give it a listen.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of an embarrassing record I might have been right behind me right now. But of course, I haven't.
You haven't.
I haven't at hand. No.
Yeah, you were showing it to me last night. They were all like Morrissey and the Smiths, and so like.
Yeah, I've got a few of that.
Joy Division.
Say that would be a bad record to have right now with his track record. But do you know what? The Morrissey thing. It's like, well, you don't have to like his music, do you? I mean, I like the Smiths. They were great, and I grew up with the Smiths, and I've got all my Smiths records, and I won't sell them because of what he might have said here and there, if he did say it at all. But and people have that right. And Morrissey's solo records, they've not been that great, really, since your Arsenal, in my opinion. But again, if people like him, don't they?
Yeah. I love them.
I'm not gonna burn his records like Beatles records.
Oh no, of course not. No, don't.
Morrissey's not bigger than God. Let's face it.
Oh my God! Well, I am so looking forward to the book.
Me too. I can't wait to get my hands on it. Yeah. I'm gonna put a cup of tea on it. That's what you do, isn't it? You put your cup of tea on it.
Yeah, and hopefully you're gonna do signing session and maybe an acoustic session. To go promoting.
We'll have to see about that. But no doubt, the book is coming out, as I said, and there'll be some more records, and hopefully I'll be drumming on some more stuff at some point. I'm not going to retire just yet.
Great, yeah. No, that's good. I'd love to see.
And if I'm not playing, I'm gonna. I thought about it the other day. I'm thinking I must go to more gigs, because I've got very lazy about going to gigs. You can do it, can't you? Get it's like get on the tube. I've got to get on the tube. You shouldn't be lazy. You should just do everything you can.
Oh no, yeah.
While you can, while you got legs.
That's right. That's true, yeah. And I'm hoping that I'll see you in November.
I'm hoping I'll see you Shine
I'll go
On in November.
Jim Bob.
Yeah. And there'll be some other things, I'm sure, that will cross paths.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. It's been lovely to talk to you.
Do you want to say?
Hope everyone's enjoyed it.
Yeah. Any final words for our friends or so? Yeah.
Well,
I say?
be safe and take care of yourselves. I think that's the main thing. It's a tough old world right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It all just feels like it's a never-ending cycle of bad news and weather. But just everyone look after yourselves and your families.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And
Take care.
yeah, you too. I'll see you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, that is so good. Oh, thank you so much for watching us. And Dean is just so lovely. I haven't met him, and I haven't seen him play live, but I was worried at first because I wasn't sure whether it's actually going to be like nice or maybe strict or whatever. But he's just so lovely, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I got to speak to him for over an hour. But anyways, thank you so much. Um, Keep an eye out on for next week's guest. It's going to be another awesome drummer for next Sunday, and I'll post it on the Ask the Drummer page. And thanks again. Thank you, everybody. I'm just so glad that I'm getting to speak to all these wonderful drummers. But anyways, that's it for this week. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Love music, love live, and love drummers. One love. Bye. Bye.